Previously on the greatest estate developer, our hero shattered the corrupt tower, escaped the system's deadly trap, and uncovered a hidden empire while the enemy unleashed a city-wide annihilation protocol. And now, the story continues. In a frantic 3-hour deadline, the top estate mogul slams a demonic contract onto the table. The parchment glows as Lloyd Frontera scrawls his signature, locking in a 10 million gold monthly wage, 4 workdays and 2 patrol squads. The clerk stamps it, no error, sealing Lloyd to the demon's ruthless terms. That's everything, yes, yes. Yet a shadowed clause about the Hell King still lurks, waiting to strike. One line demands good communication, warning that breach will mute Lloyd, plunging him into a dangerous silence. The demon waves it off as a trivial footnote, but Lloyd's brow furrows. Vague penalties hide deadly consequences. A coal-colored token materializes, marking Lloyd's signature. He mutters, realizing he's bound himself to an actual demon. Panic surges as the contract's grim terms crystallize. 10 million gold now shackles them to a nightmarish covenant. I've got a coal now. The team scrambles, hunting any loophole to shatter the pact. The group debates their futile attempts to harvest fear. None have succeeded. Even the seasoned strategist admits no alternative works. The demon hints at monstrous beings looming in the final act, foreshadowing an imminent threat. Options dwindle, pushing them toward desperate tactics. The angel's tier-based plan now looms on the horizon. A demon steps forward, eyes narrowing as he recognizes a centuries-old missive. He offers a grudging apology for past inconvenience, tying the present contract to a forgotten promise, hinting a deeper, tangled history. This confession shakes the group's trust. He then admits his transformed demonic form forced him to spew cruel words.
Oh, you answered my centuries-old letter? Sorry for the trouble.
The demon confesses his new infernal form compelled him to hurl curses, branding the others damned hellspawn. Raphael, taken aback, recognizes a sliver of unexpected courtesy, easing their rivalry. Their dialogue proves old grudges can melt under tension. Hammer observes, poised to broker the fragile truce.
Now I'm a demon, I swore, called you damned hellspawn.
The sandstorm barrage finally forces an angel to weep, shocking all. The demon, now oddly subdued, reacts with wild excitement. A seasoned strategist notes Lloyd's potential to outstrip even the Hell King's menace. The stakes skyrocket.
Ah! The sand attack triggers tears. Glad I helped.
What? He's completely tamed. Could I become like him? The strategist warns that Lloyd may eclipse the Hell King.
The angels now race to summon genuine tears before the eclipse erupts.
A relentless sandstorm barrage finally compels Archangel Gabriel to shed a genuine tear. The celestial drop slices through the evil god's fragments, cracking them into harmless shards. The once raging demon, now unbound, erupts into a feral, unpredictable rampage, shaking the battlefield. Lloyd wagers his reputation and the entire realm's future on this fragile miracle, pledging his absolute effort, yet trembling that his newfound power could eclipse the king of hell himself. The heavens shudder, uncertain whether Gabriel's tear can stem the king's impending invasion, while the demon's unchecked fury signals an even darker power ready to erupt.
Don't settle for mediocre, robotic recaps. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry for cinematic storytelling.
The infernal tower must ascend, or reality shatters. Suho Kim snaps awake inside a bustling tavern, the fantasy world of his half-finished novel spilling into his senses. He discovers his skin now belongs to Lloyd Frontera, an indolent noble perpetually clutching a foaming mug. Murmurs swirl about the Frontera clan's colossal debt mountain and the imminent foreclosure threatening their ancestral hall. Suho's engineer brain ignites. He surveys cracked manor walls, dripping roofs, and a sluggish water distribution system. He vows to retrofit modern civil engineering hacks, seal the leaks, reinforce the beams, reroute the flow. Each repaired pipe buys precious days before the creditor's hammers come down. Survival equals a sliver of hope for the Fronteras. A brash knight jeers, Why do you always trash science majors? Suho retorts because they never land a proper joke. The knight follows up. Why do you grow drowsy whenever you sit? Their exchange exposes Suho's irritation at the realm's scorn for his engineering intellect and his own inexplicable fatigue. An Achilles heel he must outwit. Suho presses, "What? Why the sudden query? Why does sitting make people drowse?" A composed voice replies, "Because your head drops lower than when you stand." The straightforward physics answer uncovers a mundane source of his lethargy, granting Suho a practical lever to stay sharp during the crucial construction of his miracle device. Suho hears Raphael explain merit points, rewards granted for noble deeds. He realizes his current cleanup counts for nothing, leaving him stranded at a dead end. Resolute, he seeks the Truth Jewel's counsel, hoping to learn whether he can seal Hell's emergence now or must confront it head-on. The Jewel's answer will determine if he can rewrite fate or merely endure the world's collapse. Suho spots a radish perched on a table, its surface streaming silent tears. He quips a wordplay jab, dubbing the odd sight a TLN gag. The bizarre moment lifts the mood, reminding viewers that Suho still clings to his humanity amid the chaos. He chuckles briefly, then returns to his calculations. A radiant glyph materializes on the altar. A simple equals flanked by the character Chinese letter. The crew reads it as a promise of fortune. Suho notes that the glyph aligns with celestial coordinates inscribed in an ancient manuscript. He realizes the symbol could unlock the ultimate transmutation of angelic tears. The engineers retune the generators to echo the glyph's pattern. The massive hamster nudges the sealed vial into the altar's center, where the equals intensifies. Holy water surges, spiraling into a vortex around the Chinese letter. The vortex draws the evil god's fragments into brilliant light, dissolving them. The King of Hell's avatar collapses, its power snuffed out. Suho exhales, relief flooding him, his family's debt finally erased.
Suho pours the lone angelic tear into a massive barrel. Instantly, the liquid swells, transmuting an entire lake into radiant holy water. A concealed hell circuit awakens, silently logging every command and threatening to hijack the ritual. Suho feels a surge of hope. One drop could pulverize the evil god's fragments, but the looming surveillance injects dread into his veins, each misstep threatening to doom his allies. The altar's glowing equals fu glyph pulses brighter. The crystal voice repeats the spoiler warning, and the full moonrise deadline approaches. The team stares at an undefined loop that could unravel their hard-won salvation.
Be a legend. Hit the button. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry.
The skyline cracks, greed unleashes a violent storm over the city. A flashing title reads the greatest estate developer. Hidden contracts ignite, sending skyscrapers crashing down. Roofs lift, citizens flee as a dark cloud swallows the sky. Debt spirals, the kingdom teeters on collapse. Noble houses watch, fearing the same ruin. The raging storm forces the council to gather in Hell's court. The engineering student drifts off, a fantasy novel tucked beside his cramped desk. He dreams of towers and bridges, then awakens in a dust-caked manor. His reflection shows a slothful noble in a wine-stained shirt, a massive hamster curled by the hearth. Distant thunder rumbles, a mountain of debt presses on his shoulders. A glowing script ignites on the stone slab, confirming receipt of the formal complaint. Ancient demon bureaucracy logs the request, announcing, "Your formal complaint has been received and processed. Hell will not observe you for the next 5 minutes." The rebels breathe easier, the king's eyes blink, granting a narrow window to strike. The next moment, Kim Soho explains how he used the loophole. Kim Soho admits he feared Hell's constant watch, so he filed the complaint to buy a short break. Kim Soho paces near the glowing portal, muttering that any easy trick to kill the King of Hell would be written in a spoiler. He wonders whether asking about the mysterious Worth Rod would be any simpler, noting that any simple answer would also appear in the spoiler. His doubts highlight the lack of a quick fix and raise the stakes of finding a real strategy.
How defeat King of Hell? Easy answer in spoiler. Should I ask how to stop Worth Rod? Easy answer in spoiler.
The 5-minute blind spot looms, forcing a rushed decision. Kim Soho stops pacing, eyes the stone-etched clock.
Kim Soho slams a forged formal complaint into Hell's archives, forcing the Demon King's eyes to blink for exactly 5 minutes. He then unleashes his giant hamster and armored knight in a thunderous onslaught. Gabriel watches, fearing Kim's inventions will backfire, as the heroes gamble their lives on a fleeting window. Lloyd's condemned soul fuels their chance. Any misstep could seal their doom. A glowing /U7 EAA glyph on the stone tablet hints at a binding contract. The battlefield trembles as Rue plans to seal the breach with the forged complaint, while the restoration phenomenon's power remains hidden.
The line between good and evil is gone. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Lee Junwoo's empire crumbles, towers topple, steel splinters. The city bleeds under shattered blueprints. Panic spreads, investors dump his stocks. Junwoo feels the market's heartbeat die beneath his fingertips. Every contract he mastered now unravels. The collapse threatens his dream of becoming the greatest estate developer. Whispers rise across the realm about a brilliant noble, Lloyd Frontera, whose engineering genius could rewrite destiny. The stage readies for a clash of ambition and fate. Lloyd now confronts the Truth Jewel's warning. In the palace courtyard, Lloyd faces a cloaked stranger clutching a throbbing dark orb. The stranger's voice cuts cold. The world will shatter unless the Truth Jewel is destroyed. Puzzled, Lloyd demands answers. Lloyd clenches his fists, eyes blazing with resolve. A massive hamster leaps onto the balcony, sniffing the jewel's aura. The knight steps back, wary of the looming decision. Below, the crowd watches, oblivious to the cosmic stakes. A gust snaps the banners, as if urging a choice. Shards of light fall, each a silent promise of destiny. With a roar, Lloyd hoists the jewel aloft, its light flaring. He swings it down, shattering it into glittering shards that scatter across the land. Each fragment flashes briefly before fading. The restoration phenomenon flickers, then stalls. The sky clears, and the people erupt in cheers, believing the crisis has ended. The ancient gauge shimmers, its light waning, displaying the number 8 before fading. Lloyd watches as the restoration pulse weakens, realizing the phenomenon is losing strength. Anger flares. He turns on Javier, shouting his frustration. The destruction of the gauge threatens any chance to repair the land. Lloyd's voice cracks with desperation, knowing his inventions depend on stable magic. The crowd gasps, fearing their hopes are lost. Why are you destroying it? We can't even fix it. The gauge drops, hinting the restoration may already be failing. Javier narrows his gaze, demanding clarification. He steps closer, the air crackling with raw power. Lloyd steadies his breath, realizing precision is vital.
Javier thrusts his dark staff into the trembling earth, shattering the Truth Jewel into radiant shards that unveil a hidden ledger of altered destinies, exposing the true cost of the restoration pulse. Lloyd feels his ambition crumble as guilt floods him, realizing his short-sighted haste endangers his people. Yet the sudden clarity of purpose fuels a fierce resolve to protect the realm at any price. A shadowy figure watches the fractured jewel, whispering that the hidden secret it concealed could reshape destiny, leaving Lloyd and Javier to confront an unseen enemy whose next move threatens to unravel their fragile victory.
Understanding the world makes the fights hit harder. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Hell's King shatters the estate's calm, and the developer's dream teeters on the brink. Dark clouds swallow the sprawling manor, thunder promising annihilation. The invasion looms, demanding desperate defenses. Marcella Marcos steps forward, voice trembling. Marcella rushes into the courtyard, eyes scanning the black horizon. She turns to Lloyd, voice shaking, and asks, "Are you scared?" He stays silent, then confesses his own dread. Their fear cracks the morale of the estate.
Are you scared? I am.
A senior officer berates Lloyd, calling his skills abysmal and doubting any growth. Lloyd retorts, "I train daily, yet I still feel stagnant."
You were so bad at this. I thought your skills wouldn't improve.
"I practice every day, skills still not improving." Lloyd finally proves his skill as the flood plan nears launch. Years of relentless practice finally bear fruit. Lloyd thanks his mentors, and the Countess reminds him the agreement is mutual, reinforcing their shared goal. The floodwater now races toward enemy lines, sealing their fate. "After years, I'm finally decent," Thanks.
It's a win-win per our contract.
The enemy reacts as the torrent hits their ranks. Marcella warns Lloyd that his survival is vital. The estate's fate hinges on his victory. She confesses personal fear of losing him, turning his risk into a strategic concern. Her plea pushes Lloyd to prioritize the upcoming clash. Lloyd now moves to secure the dragon's lair as shelter.
Make sure you win. I'd be upset if you die.
Marcella asks Lloyd if he knows any female dragons and how he will arrange a blind date to gain their aid. Lloyd confirms the dragon lair is secured, removing one obstacle. With shelter in place, the estate shifts focus to battle preparation. Now Lloyd plans to rally every combat-ready resident for the final stand. The lake erupts, water surging across the ground, forming a massive wall. Residents watch as the flood engulfs the front, buying precious time. The barrier could halt the Hell Army's advance. With water in place, the estate readies its final stand against the King of Hell. The estate's forces scramble. Engineers load explosives. Soldiers line up along the flood line. A giant hamster watches from the courtyard, an odd omen. Everyone knows the King of Hell approaches. Tension spikes as the flood plan readies. The rally cry will soon reveal the true target of Hell's King.
Lloyd orders engineers to detonate the lake, sending a roaring torrent crashing into the battlefield, forging a massive water wall that slams against the advancing Hell Army. The blast echoes like thunder, sealing the front. Soldiers and residents cling to Lloyd, fearing that the King of Hell targets him as a sacrificial pawn, while their desperate unity fuels both terror and a fierce resolve to protect their leader. Their hearts pound as the water surge holds. The King of Hell laughs, promising chaos as his hidden legion looms beyond the flood. And Lloyd readies a secret weapon whose activation could either save the estate or doom it forever. The tension hangs on a single, trembling moment.
Welcome to the slaughter. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
Flames devour the manor, smoke choking the sky. 30 weary soldiers remain, the freshly appointed knight already fallen. A blazing title, the greatest estate developer, splits the gloom, revealing Suho Kim reborn as Lloyd Frontera. Lloyd's eyes scan the blaze, gears turning, mapping escape routes before the walls crumble. The estate teeters on the brink of annihilation. Every step of the evacuation will push Lloyd's fragile plan to its breaking point. Thick smoke blankets the wrecked village, curling around twisted timber. Haggard townsfolk huddle by the gate, clutching salvaged heirlooms. Flickering firelight exposes broken walls and empty carts. Lloyd's mind runs equations, tallying what must be reforged before night swallows the ruins. Bayern lunges forward, bellowing next, as troops line up for the final surge. Lloyd nods, rallying workers to load the last carts. Javier tightens his grip, ready to defend the estate's heart. The eclipse swallows the sun, casting long, trembling shadows across the fields. They know the Demon King's agents will strike at any moment, so the evacuation must finish now.
Next.
A sudden, hulking demon agent materializes, tension snapping. A fresh recruit gasps. Why risk life beside Lloyd? Javier steps in, brandishing his sword, pledging to shield the estate. He vows to stand beside Lloyd against the Demon King's onslaught. The question exposes doubt, but also steels the troops' resolve to protect their home. Bayern steps forward, voice low, admitting the exact source of the required terror remains unknown. He warns they cannot be sure what will generate enough dread. The group notes fear is scattered across the land, not confined to a single point. This uncertainty forces them to hunt new methods to capture terror. Their planning stalls as they search for a reliable fear source.
That's something we can't be sure of.
Javier then challenges the notion of a personal fight. Javier clenches his fist, arguing that opinions clash only when goodwill is at stake. He declares the conflict is not a personal grudge against them. He stresses the demon's scheme targets the estate, not individual hearts. A solitary child lingers at the abandoned gate, clutching a broken toy. Lloyd spots the youngster, kneels, and promises safety. He orders the guards to snatch the child before the eclipse darkens. The tiny figure underscores that even the smallest lives matter for the estate's future. Saving the child averts a symbolic loss that could fuel the Demon King's summoning. The eclipse approaches, and fear gathers for the dark rite. Master Lloyd rides ahead of the convoy, scanning the road. He spots the last cart stalled near a broken bridge. He shouts to Sir Bayern, who yanks the cart forward with a mighty pull. Bayern steadies the wheels, clears debris, and gets the cart moving.
Lloyd guides the convoy to the hilltop shrine. A searing rune flares, reshaping the altar and spawning a torrent of Demon King agents that surge into the camp. Lloyd's chest tightens as the ledger lists vanishing workers, collapsing revenue, and now the Demon King's legions bearing down on his estate's foundation, demanding a sacrifice instead of mere survival. Javier demands a grim tally, gesturing at shivering villagers and cowering beasts as the rune throbs, forcing the trio to scramble for a terror source strong enough to seal the Demon King's summoning before darkness devours them.
Tonight the skyline will crumble unless the greatest estate developer stops the Hell King. The title blazes, The Greatest Estate Developer. Lloyd Frontera steps forward, eyes narrowed, blueprint clenched. He scans the shattered city, feeling the weight of every ruined tower. The Hell King's fall looms, ready to swallow everything. From the shadows, the enemy emerges. A cloaked silhouette crashes onto the broken balcony, voice sharp. It snarls, "I will crush you." The taunt cuts deep, calls Lloyd weak, accuses him of envy. The jeers heighten the pressure of debt and the ticking ritual.
I come to destroy you. Pathetic, you struggle alone. If jealous, work harder.
Lloyd growls, ready to strike back. Lloyd confronts the enemy head-on. "I know your whole scheme," he declares, pointing at the villain. He orders his forces to strike the summoned beasts. His voice cracks the air, urging immediate action. Troops ready weapons, eyes fixed on the looming creatures. "I know your entire plan." Done attack the beasts. The beasts stir, revealing hidden sentient. Lloyd watches the beasts recoil, fear flashing in their eyes. He realizes the enemy siphons that fear to fuel the summoning. He curses the setback, shouting in frustration. Fear spikes, ritual energy surges. They have emotions too. He's trying to gather their fear. Cursed it, the King of Hell's shadow spreads, promising a final showdown. Blood eyes display a bright plus sign, fear energy soaring. Lloyd reads the surge, seeing the feed growing faster. He pulls a lever on his fear drain device, rerouting the conduit to the nearby river. He commands engineers to boost the siphon's capacity. The glowing symbols dim as the surge recedes. If unchecked, the fear could power the demon's summoning. Lloyd's quick adjustment buys crucial time before the villain reacts. The antagonist erupts, shouting, "You wretch, stop acting high and mighty." His voice echoes across the field. Lloyd feels the insult sting but stays focused. He orders his soldiers to charge the summoning core, aiming to smash the crystal powering the ritual. Troops sprint forward, spears raised. The antagonist raises his arms, shouting a desperate prayer to the infernal ruler. "Great King of Hell, grant your loyal servant's wish." Dark energy surges, feeding the summoning core. Allies brace for the final wave of demonic power. The ritual nears completion, threatening to unleash the King of Hell onto the battlefield. Lloyd must unleash his ultimate blast before the portal opens.
Great King of Hell, grant your loyal servant's wish.
Lloyd prepares his final device as the demon's gate cracks open. Lloyd watches the crystal pulse faster. His device overloads. A warning flashes on the monitor, self-destruction imminent. He grabs the control lever, trying to divert the surge. The enemy commander steps forward, aura blazing. He points at Lloyd and declares, "I've come to take you, Lloyd Frontera." He raises his blade, ready to strike. Dark energy crackles around him. Lloyd feels the pressure, knowing the villain aims to use his blood for the ritual. Losing Lloyd could complete the summoning.
I've come to take you, Lloyd Frontera.
Lloyd must decide whether to fight or retreat as the ritual reaches its climax.
The antagonist seizes the fear cloud, forging a blinding vortex that engulfs crystal shards and ash. He thrusts his blade toward Lloyd, vowing to claim the hero's very soul. Lloyd watches his desperate device implode, the crushing weight of annihilation pressing down. Allies' hopes turn to ash, and he knows one misstep could erase everything he has built. The vortex pulses ominously, dark energy spiraling toward Lloyd. The battlefield freezes, and the fate of his final gamble hangs in the balance. Will the fear storm shatter, or will darkness consume him?
Fragments erupt, tearing the air apart. The earth shudders, cracking beneath a storm of blue ruin. From the shattered ridge, the greatest estate developer watches each stone crumble, eyes cold and calculating. Lloyd Frontera lifts his hand, commanding the shards like a demolition master. A deafening blast vaporizes the enemy forward camp, leaving a smoking crater that carves a clear corridor. Defenders surge forward through the fresh gap, while the opposing army staggers and retreats. Lloyd roars new commands, urging the remaining fragments to obey. Lloyd shouts, "Fragments, obey my command. Fulfill the summoner's wish." The shards surge, coalescing into a radiant crystal wall that sweeps toward the village plaza where the enemy mass thunders. Enemy troops surge toward the plaza, dark soldiers slamming into the golden barrier, their swords clanging uselessly. A mage tries a fresh binding spell on the fragments. His hands flare, yet the shards stubbornly resist. The giant hamster leaps, toppling a battering ram with a thunderous crash. Lloyd barks orders, directing troops to swing around and flank the assault. The defenders cling to the line, buying precious minutes. The tide of battle hangs in precarious balance. Suddenly, a new enemy commander crowns the distant hill, his presence casting a chilling shadow. Lloyd raises his voice across the roar of combat. He declares that no true Grand Master can match his skill. The summoner's voice rises, demanding that every soul in the plaza recognize the truth. He points at Lloyd, accusing him of being the root of all suffering, fear, and death. He vows that Lloyd will feel the hatred of the masses as he falls. Warriors exchange glances, realizing the blame is being pinned on their leader.
Everyone must see. Lloyd Frontera causes your pain and death. You will die hearing their hatred.
The villagers begin to murmur, pointing at Lloyd. The summoner lifts his staff, channeling dark energy. He declares his intention to eradicate everyone present. A surge of black light spreads, touching soldiers, villagers, and even the giant hamster. The scene flashes a chaotic rush toward the village plaza. Soldiers sprint, shields raised, while the summoned demon barrels ahead, its claws tearing the ground. Civilians scramble, clutching each other, eyes fixed on the safety of the square. Lord Raphael and Artanis linger behind, watching the battle line hold. Dust rises as enemy forces close in, but the Allied troops keep formation. This visual clash sets the stage for the impending showdown at the plaza. The Holy Water's power will be tested as the enemy reaches the plaza. Lloyd shouts orders to his troops. He commands the front line to launch a sudden attack to stall the enemy advance. The summoned demon lunges forward, crushing the first wave. A veteran commander steps up and declares the former as he references the previous landlord's tactics. He then yells QDD to trigger the hidden magical artillery on the hill. The artillery fires a burst of enchanted stones toward the enemy ranks. The sudden barrage disrupts the opposing formation and forces them to retreat. This strike gives the Allies a critical opening to press their advantage. The former QDD. The hill erupts with bright projectiles. Lloyd raises his sword and shouts, "Go!" The frontline troops surge forward, closing the distance to the enemy line. Their charge breaks through the disrupted ranks, scattering the remaining soldiers. The momentum swings the battle toward the Allies, putting the enemy commander on the defensive. This final push could end the fight before nightfall. Go! The enemy commander readies a desperate counterattack.
Lloyd roars, "Javier!" The cavalry storms the flank. The veteran commander ignites hidden magical artillery, and the demon crashes forward, shredding the battlefield in a cataclysmic surge. Allied troops feel hope surge as their swords flash. Yet the looming baptism threatens to bind the captured demon, risking the loss of their hard-won advantage and the lives perched on the ridge. With artillery smoke thickening and the demon's claws carving fresh trenches, the battlefield hangs on a breath, leaving the fate of the ritual, the hidden artillery's power, and Lloyd's next command perilously uncertain.
You made it to the end. That means everything. Subscribe to Manwa with Harry and I'll see you next chapter.
The blueprint must be completed this instant, or the demolition timer will wipe the whole site away. Scene 1 crowns Chinese letter as the unrivaled estate visionary. In the following scene, June roars at Javier, demanding he buy every second and hold back the advancing troops. Every stolen minute fuels the flood scheme. Go, Javier, delay them as much as possible. Javier bolts to the front line, the ticking timer growing deafening. The second scene blazes a cold zero, the demolition timer hitting its final heartbeat. June stares as the numbers freeze, knowing the flood must surge now or the whole Frontera estate will crumble. Panic ignites the camp. The torrent smashes into enemy ranks, drowning infantry and pulling cavalry into the abyss. Holy water flames sear armor. Frontera troops rally around the surge, pressing the advantage while the Imperial Regent watches, powerless. The tide turns toward June. A thunderous shout erupts as Javier spearheads the final assault. The roar of water and clashing steel fills the battlefield. Javier lunges forward, shouting Javier. He drives the charge, pulling the remaining foes into the holy tide.
Javier!
Holy water crashes into the enemy line, igniting a fierce blaze. Flames lick armor, soldiers howl, and the flood's glow turns crimson. June watches the fire choke the retreat routes. June bellows, Artanis! Across the field, the shout commands the troops to fling open the reservoir gates. The flood plan ignites into motion. Every unit braces as water cascades over the ridge. Artanis! The torrent surges toward the enemy ranks. Mystic runes flare on the altar as the binding ritual for the ancient evil god ignites. The symbols spell out the sigil, signifying the convergence of the god's fragments. This step primes the holy water to neutralize the dark force. A pressure gauge spikes, indicating the reservoir's power swelling. June glances at the pressure gauge marked PF. The needle climbs to critical levels, confirming the reservoir is on the brink. Holy water rushes across the valley, turning the terrain into a radiant river. Frontera soldiers watch as the enemy army is devoured whole. The sacrificial flood completes, sealing the ancient evil fragments forever. The region is sacrificed, yet the kingdom endures. June now turns his gaze toward rebuilding the shattered lands. The Frontera army gathers on the ridge above the flooded valley. June hoists his banner, ordering the troops into a tight formation. Infantry grip their weapons tighter. Archers notch arrows, cavalry snort as their steeds paw the ground. Engineers scramble, erecting portable scaffolds to mend the shattered bridge. A massive hamster drags supply wagons into place beside the soldiers.
June yanks the massive release lever, the floodgate erupts, and a torrent of holy water cascades across the valley, drowning the enemy front and turning the battlefield into a blazing river of sanctified destruction. Javier throws himself into the chaos, sealing the commander's escape route and risking his own life. He seizes a fleeting advantage as his comrades drown beneath the sacred flood, tasting triumph tinged with heartbreaking sacrifice. The Frontera army now lines the ridge, poised to charge across the rebuilt bridge, yet the glowing river hides unseen depths and a faint echo of the ancient evil, promising a hidden menace to awaken.
It takes a real Manhwa veteran to appreciate this level of detail. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
The white cavalry surges forward as the city's foundations crumble under relentless bombardment. Ash billows, spears glint, hooves thunder across cracked streets. They charge the citadel where the King of Hell watches, shaking walls with each stride. The squad leader roars the advance order, eyes locked on the looming dark tower. Their thrust threatens to snap the enemy siege line. One charge could decide the entire battle. The cavalry's roar foreshadows Laura's imminent power surge. The white cavalry hoists bright banners and bellows. We are the white cavalry that pursues truth, and the diligent. Their cry ricochets across the battlefield, igniting every soldier. The chant steals morale, sharpening focus for the looming clash. The powerful man steps forward, eyes blazing with purpose. He whispers, "And that's exactly why," then declares, "I want you so badly." His confession pierces the battlefield din aimed at the noble lady nearby. The admission reveals a hidden personal stake beneath his grand ambitions. It adds emotional weight, proving love can drive even the strongest to risk everything. The declaration could shift alliances if she reciprocates. The moment hangs heavy, threatening to distract the troops. "I want you so badly." The lady's response will decide whether love fuels the fight or fractures it. The noble lady listens, her face a mask of conflicted resolve. She replies, "I can understand this love of mine." Junwoo spots a squad of demon archers on the left flank. He raises his sword and bellows, "Oh!" The cry echoes across the courtyard. The white cavalry swivels as one, turning toward the threat. Laura tightens her labor aura shield, channeling more energy. The shield expands, covering the turning troops. Arrows slam into the aura, sputtering out. The demon archers falter, their volley ineffective. The cavalry charges through the cleared path, closing distance to the throne room. Their momentum drives the assault forward. The archers' failure opens a gap for more troops. The battle rhythm accelerates. Soon elite forces receive new orders to focus on the king himself. The progress meter flashes 50%, a thin line of light climbing the citadel graphic. Cheers erupt from the white cavalry as the halfway mark lights up. A small caption appears in the corner, a meta note from the author praising the milestone and joking about the protagonist's meat-free diet. It mentions Go Kyung, who has seen Kim So-ho for days, adding humor. Despite the joke, troops press forward, aware the next half will decide the king's fate. The half-point fuels commanders to order a final push toward the shattered throne. The demonic king watches, expression tightening. The battle's tempo accelerates as both sides brace for the climax. The white cavalry now aims to shatter the king's dark shield and end the siege.
The white cavalry breaches the inner wall, unleashing a torrent of black fire. The king of hell rises on his bone throne, while Junwoo summons Artanis and Raphael to clash with the demonic onslaught. Laura pours her labor aura into a pulsating wave, risking total exhaustion to boost her comrades. Junwoo feels the weight of the missing squad and the half-citadel's fragile hope hanging on his command. The dark energy wave crashes into the white cavalry, shattering formations as the progress meter stalls at 50%. The citadel's core remains exposed, and the missing squad's fate dangles on the brink of oblivion.
The deepest lore dives, the highest quality editing. You've found the best. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.